I believe my wife and I have owned somewhere close to 30 houses. At that point, you know, I've done a lot of rentals myself. I've had flips. I've bought and sold houses both in the States and in Canada. I mean, I got down to, I think I can do an offer in 8 minutes.
What's going on, guys? Jeff Weibo here, and I am back talking to another realtor on the channel here, and I'm here with Cloud. And Cloud is an agent in London, Ontario, but unlike some of the other guests that I've had on the channel, he's a very experienced realtor. He's going to tell you all about all his experience. So all the new realtors, you're going to want to stick around to the end of this video to learn all his tips and tricks. And like always, I'm going to give away a copy of my course. All you guys got to do is be the last comment down. I'll come into the comment section every once in a while and check out who's the last to comment, and I'll give away the course for free. But Cloud, what I like to do is always ask you, because we have a lot of junior agents watching the channel, can you even remember writing the tests?
Yes.
Okay. And how did that go? And how long ago was it?
I believe 2012.
2012.
Beginning of 2012, I want to say January, February 2012.
So back then you would have taken the 3 tests, then you're active, and then articling?
Correct. I ended up doing phase 1, phase 2, and then I did commercial as my 3rd one.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and then did my next 2 years, which unfortunately I left the last second because I was actually busy in the business.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was lucky enough to still do the 3.
Why commercial? Did you have any background in that, or did you know people?
So a couple things. One, I was still in construction.
Okay.
So I didn't have really any time to do any of my courses, but the whole time my wife and I were thinking, since I have a background in flipping and rentals and construction, that if I got into real estate, that I could actually help people, right? And compared to some of the construction I was doing commercial build-outs of fitness clubs, that I could actually be home. Okay, so that was kind of the idea. Now, I grew up in a real estate family, so I knew exactly kind of what I'm going to be up against. I knew, you know, how clients can be, and buyers and sellers, and the realities of the business, because my mom, I believe since 89 or 90, has been an agent, right? So I started doing the courses kind of after work, et cetera, et cetera. I remember I opened up the first course, I skimmed through it, and at that point, you know, I've done a lot of rentals myself. I've had flips. I've bought and sold houses both in the States and in Canada, right? So at that point, I was like, yeah, I could do this, no problem. And then I just put the book away. Then I remember setting, in my iPhone, I remember setting on my calendar, right, a reminder, hey, write the test. So I wrote the first test. No issue, it was pretty easy. Then I got started working overtime building a club actually here in London. And I remember one Friday just walking around the site thinking, geez, there's something I gotta do tomorrow. And I couldn't remember what it was. And then I got home, I asked my wife, I'm like, hey, didn't I have an exam tomorrow for phase 2, which was land structures, I think, construction, whatever. And she's like, yeah, I think so. So the book was shrink wrapped actually until I think 3.5 years later, when my wife started doing courses. And I figured, hey, I'm gonna go write the exam. Worst case, if I fail, $50, I'll go, you know, and redo it.
It's very important. You know, a lot of people, like, they wait forever because they want to be like so ready, studied to go write it. Like, just, I have another video, like, take the shot, just go out and try it. What's the worst that's gonna happen? You fail, you pay $50,
and you do it again,
or you pass and you move on.
Yeah. So, and having a construction background, I figured if I get lucky enough that half the exam has anything to do with housing, I'm like, there's 50%. So then I just need to get another 25 to pass, right? So that was kind of the mentality, and I just wrote it, you know, blind, I would say. And then when it came to phase 3, what ended up happening is, again, left everything to last minute, but I was trying to get into residential class, and back then you had to take the class, and I think it was like 1 time in a year in London at that point. So then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to wait till next year. I can't leave my job and drive to Toronto or wherever else to take this course. And then I looked at commercial, and commercial was available. So I figured, okay, I'm going to take a week off work and actually go to the in-class portion. And what I didn't even know at the time was, by doing it that way, that 3rd exam was actually half commercial, half forms. So I actually had an easier version of a commercial exam versus if you left it till later.
Okay.
So I did the class for a week, wrote the exam, passed, no issue. Within a couple weeks or however long it took, I had my license.
Yeah, you get your police record check, you get your license. Okay, so then did you interview with brokerages since your family was already in brokerages? Did you know where you're already going, or are you with the current one you are with now? Or
no. So because I kind of grew up in real estate, I knew a lot of the old boys in the city, right? My dad, when I was a kid in high school, opened up a sign installation company. So VC Signs to this day still exist. Hi, Arthur. Arthur owns it now. So my dad started that company. I actually did that as a side job while I was in high school. So a lot of the agents from, I would say, late 90s, early 2000s, I would say, I actually knew, right? Through the sign business or through my mom, or, I grew up a RE/MAX baby. Right, so I'm used to a lot of the old RE/MAX agents, especially, right? But when it came to joining a brokerage, I right away went to a familiar broker that actually I've known since probably I was 10 years old. And that's where I started. It was a big brokerage. Fees weren't too bad, and that was just comfortable. And my mom was there already, right? So that's kind of where I started. Once I got into doing more and more volume, there was certain aspects of that brokerage I didn't like anymore, and I wanted a change.
Was your mom still there, or was she retired at that point?
No, mom works with me now. Okay, so she was there a lot longer, and about a year and a half ago, or maybe 2 years now.
There's no animosity with you leaving?
No.
Okay.
Well, there's always
Christmas is a little weird.
No, there was no issues with mom at all, right? Okay. She understood what I was trying to do, and there was no issues that way at all. And then and later, she actually came to work with me. But first year, I think you wanted me to kind of talk about this was how to start. Yeah, so day one, you got your desk, you put your little pen out, I'm a realtor, but you had connections, so maybe. So there was not really connections.
Okay.
I spent before I came back, about 9 years in the States. So a lot of my high school friends and so forth, by the time I actually came back and became an agent, already bought.
Yeah, they bought,
right. So my closest circle was already kind of in investing or whatever. So that came as I had to prove myself over the years. But I remember this, it was late August, I think, when I got my license. I put in my 2 weeks notice at the construction company, and I'm like, okay, let's start. So first thing I did was I traded in my Ford Ranger, figuring I need a bigger car. So I got a Ford Escape on payments. And so now I had an SUV, so I could ball around, okay? But the motivating factor was there was no office, right? Because I couldn't afford to have an office, to rent an office. So the brokerage I actually joined had a boardroom, and you could just sign out, the boardroom as needed. What ended up happening in the first couple of weeks in that company is I almost used the boardroom as my own office, right?
Good tip.
But it saved you, the rental fees from an office. And at the time, we were living in an apartment, my wife and I, so there really wasn't enough space, for an office. But starting off, what I kind of knew in my head was, in 2 weeks, I get my last paycheck. Okay. At the time, I don't remember if I had 2 or 3 mortgages. Okay, and now I got a car payment for Ford Escape. So I figured, okay, I need to hit the pavement running, sprinting actually, not just running, sprinting, because in 2 weeks I need to really figure out, hey, where's the money going to be coming from, to live, right, to pay mortgages, to do this. So what I ended up starting with is I kind of sat down and thought, okay, what am I good at? What am I the expert in? Where can I help people? And right away, the whole flipping thing is what was in my head. So I figured, okay, I've been an investor almost all my life. This is the kind of clientele I've worked with. This is what I've done myself. I think that is probably my niche, and I should kind of stick with it. But because, you know, this business takes a while to develop and so forth, when I started, I basically used Kijiji, I remember, and I set up ads for, hey, let me find you a rental. Okay, so then I found a couple rentals for people, right? It's not big money, but it was something to kind of get rolling. I put, you know, I can do rent to owns. So I have some, you know, investors that I know that are doing rent to owns. Let me help you find something. You know, ugly houses. We buy ugly houses type stuff. Or I did ads for, hey, if you're getting divorced, let me help you with real estate. So kind of a lot of that. And to be honest, you know, some of my best friends to this day in the business actually called me from some of those ads, right? I know you've had a couple here even in the house.
Yep.
So that's kind of how things started. And you know, people say, well, you need some goals or you know, some sort of a checklist or whatever. So mine at the brokerage was this. I wanted to have a goal, but I couldn't figure out kind of how to do it. I didn't know how to set it up with the money, with, you know, how much do I really need to make. I wasn't that greatest at budgeting of what our real expenses are. So mine was easy, and I mean, people laugh at it, was I set mine up to be the awards at the brokerage. That was my first setup. So in that brokerage, your first award was 11 deals or 50,000. So I said, okay, my first goal is that award. Once I hit that award, then I would just make the next goal, the next award, and so forth. So it's funny to do that because nobody really does it that way. But that was kind of my focus of, okay, I'm getting that award.
Yeah.
So in the first 3 months in the business, because the year ran out, obviously, December 31st, 2012, I was able to do my 11 deals. I didn't hit 50 grand, but I was able to do 11 deals.
Some rentals.
So yeah, for example, so I did a couple leases. I did 3, 4, I think, buy, sells, just a combination. I was able to do 11 or 12, actually. I think I actually went over that. So that was my first 3 months in the business. What that actually ended up being later was, it was actually enough in that year at the brokerage to actually win Rookie of the Year as well, right? But then I just kept that momentum going. So by the time January, February, March came around, I think I capped out in March already, I think, in the following year. So cap out at that office was 18 deals. So that's kind of how I started with my goal setting, right? And people are like, that's so stupid, that's crazy.
But it's really important that you were able to do 11 in a short period of time when you may or may not have 100% knew how to do the paperwork or handle a client.
No.
It just gave you, yes, it wasn't a lot of money per se, but it gave you all that tools to be able to go on and do some other deals later on.
Yeah.
So many of the agents out there, you didn't do anything in your first 3 months, and then somebody's like, hey, can you sell my house? And you don't even know how to do it.
Correct. Yeah.
So.
No, it was almost immediate. I mean, one of my first clients was the guy, the sales rep at the car company that I bought the Ford Escape from. Right, so he was actually one of my clients. Then he introduced me to somebody else and so forth.
What are you buying the car for? Oh, I'm a real estate.
Exactly, right? You know, I'm just starting out, but this is what I'm doing. I'm in investments, flips.
Yeah, you could talk right about that right away. It's similar to what I did too. Similar why the tests were not too bad, because I had purchased property before.
Yes.
I knew about tenants. I knew all these things. Where some other people might be just studying completely blank. I feel sorry for you guys. You're gonna have to study a lot harder than we would have had to. But yeah, you could quickly talk about your experiences in the past, and it didn't matter that you were a brand new agent because they're like, well, this guy's done a lot of real estate.
Yes.
Now he's just got his license versus you starting out. And there's going to be people that just start out, but you're able to take advantage of it and found a niche now.
Yeah, by the time we were licensed, or I was licensed, I believe my wife and I have owned somewhere close to 30 houses.
So it's pretty easy to tell a client, well, this is what you're going to go through, versus if you're a brand new client, you guys are going to have to work, or agent, you're going to have to work a lot harder when it's like you should buy this house, but you still live in an apartment, right? So.
And that was kind of my thing always too, where, you know, I have trouble taking advice from, you know, a financial planner that's broke, or you know, a guy selling me I don't know, let's say a Mercedes, which you know, one day I'd like to have one, but you know, selling me a Mercedes, but he drives a Neon, right? Like, so I always have this issue with, you know, are you really practicing what you preach? Are you an expert in your field? And that's where, you know, from my end, I would respect the fact that if I went up against an agent and he did have 30, let's say, houses, and he rented, you know, 28 of them, like that to me was street credit, let's say, right? Like that's street credit, where you understand what a flooded bathroom can be or what a trashed house can be, or like, whereas a lot of the new agents coming in, I feel like you have almost blinders on and they don't have that life experience, and I think that's where it's so much harder. And I think for them it's so much harder to kind of get into the business.
20-year-olds to get their license as well too, and it's not easy. It's possible, but yeah, you don't have the life experience of purchasing properties or seeing, you know, a lot of other things, like even like relationships of like, because like how many like divorce sales have you had to do?
Every January and February is divorce season. So if you're after that market, that's when it's the strongest, and it happens every single year.
So, all right, so you get into, you make your cap in up by March there, and now you're rolling in your pretty much your first full year now. And what did you end up doing in your first year? Do you remember?
So I skipped all the awards from what I remember and went to the top one right away, which was 100%. And
was that 100K?
That was 100K.
There you go.
Gross.
Yeah.
We don't get to keep it. But yeah, that was the first one, and then it just kept kind of rolling that way. By that point, I already got an office at the office, right? I'm one that I kind of feel that I need to go to work.
Yeah.
So I kind of need that office. I had trouble working from home. Plus, you know, we had a little child, or you know, a little daughter. So it was harder. You're dealing with it now, right? Now ours is 5, so it makes it.
She loves my MacBook. Offering too high. Stop slapping the keyboard.
So, you know, now she's 5 and in school, so we actually have a home office.
Because she'll leave and you can work.
Correct. Yeah.
Like right now, you know, the home life is the home life.
Correct.
It's challenges in this business all the time, bringing in your family.
There's always something. I mean, there's always something that you kind of need to get passed through. There's always something that, my favorite saying is think outside the box, right? If stuff is failing on an everyday basis, like why? You know, can you approach a deal another way? Can you approach, you know, the way you approach your business another way? And again, like we're far from perfect in this business, right? Like there's people that are crushing it, that have systems, that have all kinds of things that, you know, my system unfortunately is up here. And
similar to me, like my calendar's horrible. I know about 7 days out. Like you.
That's still 7 days. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Like a test. You're like, oh, is that a test tomorrow? Tonight it's like, oh, I got meetups tonight. Where am I tonight? Okay, I'm at this meetup. Next meetup's tomorrow night. Where's that one? Is it out of town? You know, and like quickly ask the guys and Peter and Matt and like, well, what are we doing? And oh, yeah, I got family stuff to do. Okay, so
if you can't kind of, I don't know, play this business on the go, like on the fly, you need to get organized.
If you write out your schedule and you're all happy about it, what's the first thing that happens? Hey, you can't make it, or hey, can you shift an hour or something like that? And if you're not able to adapt to it, you're screwed. Because if you think Monday you're gonna write out your plan for the entire week, it's not going to happen, because the moment you do that, somebody's going to call you on the fly, and that's how you can make your money a lot too, on the fly. That one quick phone call, if you can be there, you can make a lot of money. It sucks for family life sometimes.
Yes, there is none. Like, guys, if you're getting into the business because somebody's telling you you're going to make all this money and you're going to have all this free time and you make your own schedule, I'm sorry, in my opinion, that is, you know, so untrue, it's not even funny. Maybe as the years kind of roll on,
and in different markets, maybe we're at a
maybe in the GTA where you're, you know, one sale is equivalent to like 10 sales here for us. Maybe it's a little easier, but I feel that it's such a customer service driven business that if you're not there like this when you're starting, they'll go somewhere else. Like you know, and then the other,
especially if you're new and you have no street cred.
Exactly.
The best thing you can do is be there.
Yeah. No, you have to be there. Yeah. And so many times I remember when I started was, wow, you actually called me back. Oh, wow.
Totally.
I just paged the office like 30 seconds ago. Yeah. Oh, you know, I just happened to be here and the message came through.
Wow, that was quick. Are you sure you're a realtor? Like, that's how easy it can be to be a better than 100 or 90% of our competition out there as realtors, because a lot of them do just get their license as a part-timer, and I'll say don't do that, but there's nothing against those people, but yeah, if we're just in year one with speed, that can definitely shoot us up to the top right away.
Correct.
Because how many people are in your office that are probably just sitting around the bullpen doing nothing today?
That was one of the reasons I left the old brokerage, right? Because there was a huge number of agents that were part-time. A lot of them, you know, were also in that part in their lives where they've made money. So they actually wanted the social aspect of it too, right?
Which, when you're new, you think you may be getting leads. It can happen, or advice from these agents. But what I don't like about that was they might have done it in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, but like it might not work today for the brand new guy who's showing up in suit and tie day one, being like, I'm an agent, and he's like, you got to go do this, and it's like you're hearing you got to go do this from too many people. I think you got to really just pick what agent you're going to kind of like emulate a bit, and then go above them really eventually. Because you get so much. It's not bad advice. It's just like it worked for them in the past. Technology's changing so much. We're going to get you on an Instagram account eventually, so these guys can follow you. How can they follow you?
Right now,
do you have the book face?
The book face. I have the face for Facebook. No, I have. Obviously, I'm on Facebook. You know, with Jeff's help, getting into a little bit of the new items like the YouTubes and so forth.
You're doing great.
We have, you know, our office websites. I have my own website and so forth. But that's probably old school. But what Jeff hasn't told you is I'm already 40, whereas he's a little younger. So I tend to have
there were some older people DMing me on Instagram that were like wondering, I think they're maybe like even 50, and they're saying, I did like trucking for an entire career. Should I get into real estate now? And it's like a tough one for me to even like give them advice on. What do you think about that? Second careers, you know?
Well, I feel that real estate is kind of my like 11th career. One of the things that actually helps me connect with people nowadays is I've had a garbage business. I've had a roll-off business, which is trucking. Okay, I've had a commercial cleaning business. I've renovated houses. I've flipped houses. And I've done all these things kind of throughout my life that, you know, when I meet somebody that's in the trucking business, I can talk trucks. Right? I can tell you exactly what things cost, what breaks down, like what the issues were, right? So and it gives you that connection.
The bonding with that. And yeah, it's very, what's the word, like, it's life experience pretty much is what I was thinking about. So if you're young and you're only like 20, but if you had like a crazy teams, then you probably have that life experience. The Mr. Trucker who's 50, you have life experience. You've seen places. When they say they're from a different city, you probably did a truck stop there. You know, you can talk about it. You know, I have all my military background, and I've been to so many countries. So anytime a client who says, I'm from this country, I can say, oh yeah, I had dinner at that capital city. And they're like, what? Because like they don't expect that in Canada very often. And I'm able to like bridge that gap a little bit.
For sure. And that, I think that's the exact word, bridge that gap. Figure out what is the quickest way to bridge that gap with that new client or that phone call or whatever, where you can actually get them to work with you, get them to like you on the phone. And I think with you, with the military, I think this is where the concept comes in that I said, you know, the kind of the quick thinking, right? Because what I can, you know, think back, and I do it to this day, is a client calls you on X listing, okay? So you're all excited, yes, I got a client, but within 30, 45 seconds, you're like, hey, this isn't for them. So right away, what I was doing is thinking, okay, what's available? What have I seen? What can I show them? What's vacant? Right.
And
so right away,
important to know what's around the property the person called today.
And you know, let's say it was, you know, like it's a cheap house, right? I happen to like cheap houses. You know, like, you know, the crappier the house, the better. I mean, I was always into that. So if I was showing them one, I could say, hey, you know, I know of one that needs a little bit of less work. Why don't we go over there? It's vacant. It's a bank sale, whatever.
So that's value added. You can show them.
And it's immediate, right?
And then they have the bond with you now.
Yeah, and that way, you know, they called you off an ad or they called you off whatever, which they will do with every other agent. Okay, but now all of a sudden you're like, well, let me show you this one. And then while you're driving there, okay, now texting and stuff is illegal to drive and do. Okay.
Cars were safer,
you know, but if you have a smart car that can connect to your smartphone, you know, you can kind of figure out, okay, you know, I'm heading from, you know, this East End address to this one. What else is kind of out there? What do I remember came in on dailies? What do I remember? And then kind of do a third one. but that's where your day just changed, right?
Yes, you didn't write this in a.
You didn't write any. You didn't. Yeah.
And similar to you and me, like you can quickly hang up with that guy, call another maybe flipper, or like, hey, can we get into the property right now?
Yeah.
I know it's coming on the market later.
Yeah.
Or quickly call somebody like, what do you got? I got this guy looking for this. And if you can like open the door on an off market deal, it's more value. Like they just
For sure.
now they just want to, they might not even like that one, but they know that you have something better than the internet available.
Yeah, you have connections.
Connections.
That their guy has connections.
Yeah, because it's not just the MLS, like, oh, I'll set you up on the listing search, same way that any realtor can do. It's like, what else do you know that's coming up is very valuable.
Correct.
But that doesn't come in year one. It can, but I mean, it comes from a lot of networking and connecting.
No, for sure. And you know, one thing that my first broker told me was this, and very quickly I got into an issue where, you know, I caught some agents not doing things properly, and I was like, okay, I'm going to report him to Rico. Like, this is probably in week 3. But when I started doing a lot of offers, you know, for investors and so forth, and that's how I learned quickly. I mean, I got down to, I think I can do an offer in 8 minutes. Right, all the paperwork. Was it 7?
Slow.
I don't know. Maybe I'm getting older now. There's more paperwork. You know, but I was able to do it so quickly just because I've done so many, and by doing so many, you know, you kind of get, you know, tips and tricks and so forth. But one of the things he told me was this, and I think this is a great lesson to any new agent, and that is buyers and sellers will come and go, but you need to learn how to work with agents. Okay, and I've always tried.
Write that down, guys.
Yeah, I think that's crucial. And I've always tried to be fair with agents in the city. I've always tried, you know, to kind of have a good name for myself as far as, you know, the real estate circles and so forth. Where now, you know, if I know somebody has something for sale, I can call and say, hey, it's Cloud. You know, what's going on? How many showings do you have? Like, you get a lot of, you know, kind of side help.
Exactly.
You know, where
you can win one battle, but you're not going to win the war.
Yes.
You can yell at this agent, play Ari Gold from Entourage, put your phone across the room. This guy effed it. Like, I just had one, a London agent, firm deal, and then the next morning the deposit check never arrived, and it wasn't her fault. It's a pain in the butt, and, you know, I forgive her, you know, but it was like, it's because of a bit of a network of that. But maybe I won't trust her as much next time. We'll see. But
well, and that's the thing, right? You kind of see who the people are inside, right? And once you do enough volume, and I think that's where, you know, I feel like I'm in a good position. I'm lucky to be in this position. I've done enough volume that I've met a lot of agents, right? There's a lot of times where you and I have done deals off market, and it's like, hey, this is coming up. You got a guy?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and that's the connections, guys. You got to really focus on that stuff.
Yeah. And the key is, like, Jeff's at a different brokerage than I am, right? Like, and it doesn't matter if I had my own brokerage, Jeff had his own, or we worked together, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the relationship. And
the reason why we do the same deals with the same 10% of agents across the city, and I don't know what the other 90% are doing, but sometimes you see like the odd sign and you're like, oh, is that her mom's house or something? It's like they got a listing, because it's always the same people that get listings, and same people that bring you the correct offers that win. It's the reason why they win.
No, for sure. And even, you know, like in our scenario, because we had similar clients, and you know, we kind of understand the business in a different way. Even sometimes it's as simple as, hey, I'm stuck on this. What do you think? How would you pitch this, or how would you do this? Like, just hearing another perspective, right?
On this particular deal, it was an investor deal. Oh, Mark, so we've done a couple, but like in general, it's got to be like a win-win for both, because usually investment sales, it's not necessarily somebody just crushed the other person, like unless somebody's lying to somebody, because the investor who's selling is usually pretty happy, and then the buyer has usually got some up to do to the property to make it worth more value, so like they're gonna win as well. It's not like you oversold a residential house to somebody and somebody won and lost, is what a lot of buyers and sellers like to look at, like, did I overpay or this and this? Yeah.
Okay, so you started mentioning about like winning and losing, which in the current market, unfortunately, which I don't like the current market, I don't know what you think, but a lot more of that is happening where, oh, I won, or, you know, real estate should be, I think, you know, on a win-win scenario. Like, there shouldn't be one side that feels like they got taken advantage of. Like, it should somewhere be in that scope of the center.
Yeah, like So from some of the cheaper listings right now that go for way over asking, it doesn't even feel good if your clients won, if you were the buyer or agent. Because like you had to tell them like, here's what it's worth and here's what you got to pay to get it. So there can be other factors beyond the physical real estate, like maybe it's the school district that they have to overpay for or something like that. But it's not.
And it depends on the client, right? Like if it's a client that wants, like you said, the school district that they're going into, I don't know, let's say North End, and they want that particular school, and they're going to be there the next 10 years. Okay, an extra 5, 10 grand, 15 grand is not the end of the world. However, if you're dealing with a flipper, that 15 grand is half his reno, right? Like it does matter.
Yeah.
And what I've, unfortunately been a part of, and a lot of my clients, we've lost out on a lot of properties because we're just not willing to overpay.
Yeah, so if it's a cheap property that you're trying to get to be a flip in the future, I find when it's really cheap, I hate even go look at it because my people, just like your people, are going to make educated offers.
Yeah.
Where other people are going to offer, and who knows if they're just going to spend every Saturday and Sunday there for the next
2 years.
2 years to make 10 grand, and they're going to, way overbid us because, and we're trying to like do it as a business with contractors that come in, and maybe the actual offerer is not swinging a hammer.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're never gonna when it's so low. I always say anybody with a line of credit can offer on this. Like at least if it's in the 2, 3, 400,000, maybe make 300 and 400,000. It's less people that are gonna have the private money.
Correct.
Because like if it's just like there was one. Remember the ones that were listed for like 100K and it goes for 209.
Can we name the addresses? I know them exactly.
Yeah, just in general, and it's like
they could have been listed at 169.
I think I said I did 140, and you're like,
sold.
oh, you beat me, and I was like, I was 132, and I was like, well, I went for 209. So because our guys were like, there's no way you make money on this thing. Like you're gonna have to literally do everything yourself, spend because the guy might have whoever won might have a job, and he's just gonna like do it on the evenings and weekends. And
well, the one,
property.
I mean, the one thing that you want to tell, your agents guys your clients, is if they're ever in a competition and they're the investor and they're up against the homeowner, you always lose. You always lose.
The emotion of, I call it the boyfriend-girlfriend. Like, you're not going to beat the boyfriend-girlfriend. They're just going to overpay. Yeah. And you're trying to, like, make money, so.
But overpay or not, the other kind of angle to look at it is this. If you're doing that deal, you need to do it to make some money. So let's say that there's 20 grand in that deal. So you need to make the 20 grand. The boyfriend-girlfriend doesn't.
No.
Right? So that's where your problem lies. So the kind of uglier, smellier, dumpier the house, I like that because it usually weeds out the homeowner.
Yeah.
Right? So that means you're going to be up against investors. Now, there's, definitely agents that are telling people, hey, this dump you can pay 200,000 for, but it'll be worth 3 and you'll make 100 grand. Whereas new guys don't really know the numbers yet, right? Don't know a lot of the costs in, how much your kitchen is, how much plumbing, how much HVAC or electrical.
Okay, so if they don't know personally, a brand new agent, what I would do, I have connections that I call with my phone of friends, my contractor buddies. So, would you agree? Like that's if you're not you with the construction background. The agent out there is being like, well, I don't know what this costs. What I have, guys, is my phone a friend, and I do FaceTime right away, and I'd be like, and now you get a lot more experience. You don't need to call the person anymore. But if you're brand new, if you can find a good phone a friend, that'll go a long way.
No, the first few deals I remember, instead of using a home inspector, I recommended for clients to, hey, reach out to a plumber, reach out to an electrician, reach out to an HVAC guy, even give them a $50 gift card, whatever it is. Have them show up and give you their, itemized list or their opinion of what's happening. Because right away, they'll give you, if there's issues, they'll give you a quote and say, hey, the plumbing will cost you 3 grand to fix. Whereas if you do a home inspection right off the bat, right? In the home inspection, you'll say, electrical problems, call electrician. Plumbing problems, call plumber. So you just paid $400, right? And then you still need to bring those guys in. So I think until you kind of get rolling, that's what I did initially for a lot of clients. And sometimes I even do that now when there's something that I encounter that I don't know how to price. But I always assume the worst, right? Like I'm like, it's a gut, right? So I'm like, the gut's going to cost me X amount of dollars. I'm assuming it needs everything. Whatever it doesn't need is a bonus. Like, that's more money, right? And that's the other thing I tell clients as well, where I think a sure sale price is X. Anything above that is bonus. Yeah. If you can make money at the sure sale price, then it's worth doing the deal. If you can't, then you're just speculating and you have no idea what the market's going to do a year from now or whatever.
I always price there, and we often don't offer or don't get the deal.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It's a lot of work, but I never want to be on the other end of my client got it,
yeah.
and then they're blaming me a half year later when it's on the market, and they said, you said this would sell, and then I got to be like, oh, the market.
Yeah, no, I would rather lose deals. Not that I would rather. Nobody wants to lose deals.
By losing the deal, you've created a bond with that person.
Correct. Like,
because you didn't tell them to go spend and lose money.
Yeah, over the years now, I definitely have probably told more people to walk away than to buy.
I think it's more valuable than to quickly get the commission, because that's the battle. You didn't win the war, right? Like,
correct.
You want to win one commission check. These guys buy what, like 5 times a year kind of types of people?
Some of them,
right?
yeah.
So these are the ones you don't want to screw over at all. You don't want to screw anybody over, but like
they can be a pain in the butt though, because those five deals could cost you 100 offers. Like, you might do 100 offers to get those 5 deals.
I guess you need an assistant.
So yeah, perhaps.
I'm looking into this kind of stuff now, so to quickly fire off these 8-minute deals that don't go anywhere.
So there's a lot of legwork. However, I think the bonds that you develop are worth way more than, the one deal here or there. Mm-hmm. Right. And the other thing too is the thing I looked at originally was this: if I could figure out how to do 50 deals a year, which is a lot of deals in London, it's probably a lot of deals everywhere, to be honest, but I figured if I could do 50 transactions in a year and only 10% of those people referred me, okay, in year 11 I would not need to advertise. I would need to do nothing, because it would just flow on its own. I've actually found that I'm halfway there and it's already there. Right? So that's where the relationship is important.
Okay, so fast forward now. Long video, guys, but thank you for sticking around. You're working with developers now.
Yes, I have a couple, again, guys that are friends now.
Developer agent shirt.
I still drive a Ford Escape.
I need a bit more disaster or something.
No, I do have some clients that have gotten into developing kind of from start to finish farmland into a subdivision.
So cool.
Then I was able to find some builders for them, and then builders are coming in. I'm representing a great builder in Lambeth where I live. And again, that happened.
How much homework are they telling you? Like, okay, I bought a farmland. And can I...
Well, in that scenario, I actually brought it to him.
Okay.
And said, hey, this has potential. It has
how did you
futures.
know? Was it on the MLS? Was it a connection? Did you go to the city?
It was on MLS a while back, and somewhere in the notes said, future residential possibility, blah, 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 something along that line. But actually another agent, and this is again, the connections, or another agent told me, hey, I know the guy that's willing to do this before it goes on the market. Are you interested? So then I looked into it, offered it to my buddy who's a client, and he's actually a real estate agent. I represented another real estate agent, and we did that deal. That was approximately 2 years ago, and now we're in that process where 67 lots are coming into that subdivision, right? So that type of stuff is fun. That's I'm hoping to build my business to the point where I can do more of the fun transactions, the research, how can we twist this, how can we make this happen. But again, it takes time, right? And I mean, that deal, 2 years ago you made a little bit of commission. You got to wait another year, so 3 years before you ever sell that first house. But the volume out of that will more than
it'll cover.
Yeah, it'll cover everything.
Year.
Yeah.
But it does take time. Everybody sees, like, I got a text this weekend about some of my people in my brokerage, like, that they're selling all these nice homes around here. Like, oh, they made bank, and I'm like, no, they earned bank.
They earned bank.
It's not. They didn't make. Everybody just thinks that's the easy. Oh, 67 new lots coming up. Must be nice. Oh yeah, it must be nice. I just like turned a switch on and that's just happened, right? Like it's a lot of connections, a lot of being the guy that makes it happen.
Oh, I'm pounding pavement. I mean, you know, the one with your brokerage, you know, this isn't something that they started 2 weeks ago. Like this is 5-6 years in the making. And it's pounding pavement like there's no tomorrow. Right? And then you're strictly focused in their scenario mainly on that client. And when it's slow, there's nothing, right? And some of your closings, yes, there could be a lot, but you might have to wait a year or something, right, for the money. So, yes, it's great once you get it going, but starting,
people that don't close 2 years from now.
Yes, exactly. It's an up and down business. Obviously, real estate, you know, as a business, I love. You know, I guess one thing. Sorry, I'm going to change topics for a second. Is this? I think you could be a great real estate agent when you go on holidays and you're actually interested in what real estate and what things cost of wherever you are.
You notice it a lot more.
Like if you're into that and it's just, you know, that just kind of goes into your mind all the time and you're always interested in, hey, how is this? I think helps you become a great agent.
Absolutely.
But you know, kind of back on topic, you know, hitting pavement. I mean, I keep going back to that, Jeff, and it's really put in the effort, and enough things will come out. I remember, I think back in the U.S. there was I forget which course I took. A guy was talking about you have a funnel. So real estate is a funnel. If you throw enough stuff in that funnel, eventually things start dribbling out. Right? So if you can start with, you know, like I always started with leases and try to get some listings and this and ads and whatever, eventually some things are going to start connecting and then you just push those, right?
Yeah.
But if you just sit there thinking, okay, I got my license now, you know, hey, mom and dad, who do you know? Okay, it's probably not going to happen. Like this fear of influence.
It's a template for like every agent, and it's not gonna. You're not gonna be sitting here with a nice colorful shirt on if that's all you do. So you gotta like. I have a line saying like just do a lot of stuff and stuff comes back. I don't know where I got it from.
Correct.
Like in general, like you just gotta go like do that. You find a niche and then like you can focus on that and it comes back. But at first, every day you gotta be doing something. Every day we're doing something. You're on vacation, but you're really working on location half the time because I'm sure the phone doesn't
always
stop,
on the phone,
right?
Always on the phone.
But that's the trade-off we have being agents. We can go on 4 times somewhere per year versus 1, but we are working on location and which I actually like because you staring at the water or the sunset while you're making 10 grand is not a horrible way to before pre-dinner drinks to
now you just think of, is there internet in that location?
Oh, don't fly to Cuba. I think Cuba is the worst trip.
Right? Yeah, it's like, it's hard.
I think I remember sending some to the mortgage brokers. I can't open the attachment. I'm like, never going back to Cuba. So
you want to pick vacations where, you know, Rogers has that roam as you go, right? For me.
No, 100%. That's a guarantee.
So the phone needs to work, and that you have internet. Like if you don't have those two things, you know what though? But then it's a real vacation. That's actually a real vacation because you can't do any of this.
I don't need a real vacation right now. I go work on locations. You know, for everybody. But like that's $7 whatever for roam as you go.
Yeah.
It's going to cost me an extra $35 this trip. That can make you $10,000 from picking up the one phone call. So,
and not even making any. Like you might make nothing. But your clients might have a question,
100%.
Right? And it's just as simple as, hey, you know, and they'll tell you, I'm sorry to bother you on vacation, but, you know, I need to know this. Like, what's it going to take? 30 seconds of your time, sometimes a minute. Like, it's not a big deal.
I'm pretty good at just like quickly doing it and going back to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So.
No, for sure.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the channel.
No problem.
Awesome. I haven't even seen you in a while, so it's good to see you. And we're going to see you at OREC.
Okay.
Okay,
for sure. Of course.
All right. Ontario Real Estate Conference, April 27, 28 in London, Ontario, the 2-day event. You'll be at it. So you were at it last year.
Yes.
Tell them, was it horrible?
Is that a trick question?
It was. You gotta say yes.
No, actually, OREC was awesome last year. The guys put on a great event for a first-time event. It was one of the best real estate type events I was ever at, and I've been to a lot, I've spoken at a few, like it was a lot of, bread and butter type stuff, like true things you could take home and actually do.
Pom-poms, real estate.
No, like the fluff, kind of
Fireworks.
wasn't in the back of the room where, hey, sign up for my coaching. Like it was nothing like that. And a lot of the speakers are real investors, like that do this stuff every day. Not, hey, I opened up a coaching class and, Trump University or whatever it is, right? Like,
and I have a course now.
Yeah, like it's a great event. I'm imagining you're going to have even more speakers this year. Hopefully he invites me to speak again. We'll see.
We'll have to get you off the stage a bit. We'll get the game thing going. All right, enough.
Yeah, no, great event. And what are the dates?
April 27, 28. So,
and we're still at the convention center.
Convention center, yeah.
Oh yeah, guys, don't miss it. It's even for somebody new. I know this is more for agents and stuff, but even as an agent, to show up to a place filled with, I don't know, let's say 1,000 people that could possibly be your clients or connections.
Let's go hang out with people that are looking to buy and sell real estate. Seems
well,
like a
exactly,
good place to hang
right?
out with.
Like one connection out of that could actually set you off in a whole new direction in your business, right? Like you just never know. And the more connections you make, even something like a referral, like let's say you're a GTA agent and the people you meet are, I don't know, Kitchener-Waterloo, and you meet an agent that's Matt, right?
Yeah,
he's from there. Pichet. So, I mean, now I know a great agent that lives or works that area, right? So here's a free referral, right? With a great agent for a client you may have that, oh, geez, I can't help them in Kitchener-Waterloo. What do I do? Now you just got paid on a referral. Right, so there's
pretty sweet.
Like something that simple.
I have a couple referrals that I just keep getting an email being like, "Hey, you made $2,700." Like, what? That keeps buying, and they keep sending it to me.
It's weird sometimes.
And I even told them, I'm like, "Okay, guys, you don't have to keep paying me." No, it's your client, and I'm like, "You're the one doing it all." I'm like, I just put the 2 to 2 together, so it's possible, guys. You can do that kind of stuff too.
It's fun going back to you were just saying where your admin calls you at the office and says, "Hey, there's a check here. I have no paperwork. I have no idea what it's for," and I'm like,
and we think it's yours, Clyde.
And I'm like, "Where's it from? Who's it from?
Like, oh,
what's the address?"
I forgot I connected those people.
Right. So that's fun, and that's another way of kind of getting your business rolling, right? Like
network.
Yeah,
network, guys. It'll lead to your net worth.
No, for sure, and it's a great event, and unlike a lot of the Toronto things I've been to or stuff in the States, it's kind of legit, put on by investors for investors. It's a fun event. Plus, you get to visit us in London.
Yeah. So if you want to, you have access to us. You can be like, "Oh my God, I saw you on Jeff's YouTube. When are you starting your YouTube channel, Clyde?"
Oh, jeez.
So, all right, guys. Well, really appreciate it. You got to tell them to subscribe. So,
subscribe to your channel.
That's right. Yeah. Do it again. Just kidding.
See, he puts me on the spot using lingo. I have no idea what I'm supposed to say.
Come on, Clyde. Follow us for Instagram.
Follow Jeff on Instagram and subscribe to him on YouTube.
Whoa,
is that better?
That's amazing. Yeah. Wow.
Quick learner. See? Okay. Adjust on the fly.
It's going to have a YouTube channel, or at least an Instagram account. So, really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for joining. Remember, you guys can still comment below, and I'll give away my real estate agent course to you guys. And in general, leave us a comment. You got any questions? I'll make sure that this guy knows where the actual video is posted, so he can answer them. And because I think you have a Gmail, right? You can.
I do have a Gmail account.
All right, guys. Really appreciate it, and we'll catch you guys on my next video. Bye.